much are you adopting the AI tools? How much are your team adopting it and making your life a little easier?
We've definitely got our pulse on it. We're using it a lot for like ideation and like thumbnails, I'd say is like the main, like ideating what thumbnails are, but it's like, it will be really interesting to see how consumers feel about this, right? Because some people do feel like it's taking, the creator out of the loop, but I think YouTube's been very clear today. They want a creator in the loop is what matters. They don't want AI slop either. So it kind of remains to be seen how the consumer feels about it.
Interesting, because for you, it's maybe about A/B testing titles, basically. Maybe there's dubbing that really helps the reach when you go more global, Mark. But when you think of VO3 and the use just not even of you as a person, what do you want to put in place by YouTube to ensure that slop isn't created?
I think I just trust that they're going to do this responsibly. But even for me, like there's an opportunity here, right? Like I want to get people stoked about science and education, and there's only 24 hours in a day. So even for me, there's an opportunity for me to scale myself and to teach more topics deeper. So we're keeping a pulse on it. I think YouTube will do a very good job of making sure it's high quality and it's additive, and your feed isn't just filled with slop. That's terrible business for them, right? They don't want that to happen. People would stop using the platform.
Mark, I spent a bit of time watching the Team Water video that you did, the collab with Mr. Beast, right? And, hearing from some of the execs at today's event, there's lots of awesome AI stuff with VO3, but you described how you'd use it. The Team Water project's like real video. Does it result the AI tool in just less real material circulating on the platform?
I think it depends on the type of content, right? For like just telling stories and like fiction, I think you're going to see a lot more AI adoption and people being okay with that. At the end of the day, if, Mr. Beast and we go to Kenya to visit a village, if that's AI, like I got to imagine people aren't going to love that, right? So there's definitely going to be a spot for like real content that is actual connection with real humans, right? And then there's a spot where I think it's going to really help with storytelling. So I think we'll see how that kind of settles out over time.
Mark, what are the main challenges that you face on YouTube that were not addressed by these great generative AI tools that were put out today?
I mean, for the challenges that I face, I feel like it's actually, they've given me more tools than I would even use out of the gate, right? So I think they're doing a good job of getting out in front of it and giving creators the tools. And that's what YouTube does, right? That's kind of their advantage over like a Netflix. They don't have to pick the winners. They make the tools, they create the platform, and lo and behold, over time, the winners, emerge. And then that's who YouTube pays, right? Through AdSense and stuff. So I think they're just following the same playbook that they've done so far that's made them so successful. Create the tools, create the platform. At the end of the day, it's all about the creators.
And it's about authentic creators. And that's what helped, for example, Crunch Labs with the success of getting real products into real people's hands, because people trust you. And therefore, you can help sell products. You can do the STEM toys. You can think not only about viral videos, but about curriculum, about content, about media projects that you're thinking, Mark. Will, in the end, authenticity be the thing that lends you even more success versus the sudden wall of creation that we're going to see that isn't real?
Yeah, I mean, especially on YouTube, historically, authenticity is the currency, and that's kind of like what's helped me. My background at NASA and Apple, I'm an actual mechanical engineer. And if a TV show like Discovery Channel puts a TV show on YouTube, it doesn't do very well because people want that authentic connection. So I think there's probably going to be ways, though, to even using AI, create that connection with your audience that feels authentic. And it'll remain, we're going to see how that kind of pans out. But the tool is just so powerful. You can do so much with it. Clearly there's going to be some fairly seismic shift. The key is kind of observing it and kind of staying out in front and using it as a tool to further authentically, connect with your audience.
Mark, your story is so fascinating. The fact that, you've done all this philanthropic work of late, and we saw that with Mr. Beast. But the fact that you were a NASA engineer, the fact that you were working at Apple, I mean, we're all talking about generative AI and Apple being behind the curve. What products do you want from them?
Yeah, I would want an iPhone that, actually Siri that can actually answer a question or dictate well. That Google, it's really funny, actually. It used to be the Apple events are exciting, Google's were kind of boring with like hardware and phones, and now it's sort of switched where it's like, ooh, what's Google doing? Because they are ahead of the curve, at least with AI and Gemini, versus Apple, who has some catching up to do. So regardless, it's a very exciting time to be alive, right? I think the thing we can definitely agree is that things will be changing a lot in the next 3, 5, 10 years. And we just get to, sit by and watch, but there's others of us, myself, even, you guys included, who get to be part of like shaping what it will be and how it will turn out.
Mark, it looks like TikTok in the United States will be able to continue. We'll find out more this week. In your career as a content creator focused on YouTube, how do you view that? Your industry faces choice, right, on the platforms that they can go to.
I think it's great. I think competition's great, honestly. I will say most creators, if you actually ask them, want to move to YouTube. Like if you're big on TikTok, if you're big on Instagram, like they want to shift to YouTube because they watch out for creators the most, they pay the most. I'm not getting paid to say that. I'm just one of them and I see this, right? So generally, when TikTok had their short form, now YouTube has YouTube Shorts. So generally, if there's a type of content that really becomes sticky, YouTube adapts, and this AI is a great example of this, right? I think they're staying ahead of the curve and skating to where the puck is and saying like, hey, we need to make these tools available so that we don't become obsolete. Which honestly, YouTube is where I have 71 million subscribers, so I'm really glad that they are having that kind of attitude so that it doesn't become a tool and a platform that people don't want to use.
Right.